This is Roland in Studio B, where live broadcasts are made possible by Sierra Nevada Brewing Company. And we are going to kick off the weekend with live music from Alvin Youngblood Hart. Hey, Alvin.
Hello, hello.
How's it going?
Very well. Still alive and kicking, so I can't complain. You know.
You got a bunch of guitars, so that's pretty good.
Oh, this is nothing.
Let's get a song. What's your? I'm jonesing on your guitar right now. What's your first guitar and your first song today?
This is old National Triolean from 1928 or somewhere there, and I usually have this guitar tuned to like open E tuning or something like that, you know. So, and do this little song here. This is a song I wrote. It was inspired by my friend Henry Townsend, and goes like this here.
All right, WCW Alvin Youngblood Hart playing live with us today in advance of a show tonight up in Asheville, Ambrose West. That's a killer tune. What's that called?
That tune is called "If the Blues Was Money," which I wrote that song in 1990 something, and I think that was on my first record, which came out just about 25 years ago.
Oh man,
or somewhere there, yeah.
That seems like a song you could just ride that riff forever. Like you could,
Oh yeah. That, like I said, that was greatly influenced by a friend of mine, Henry Townsend, who was a lifelong musician. He worked out of St. Louis. He's from Mississippi, but he ran away from home when he was 8 years old, and stayed up in first Cairo, Illinois, and then St. Louis for the next 90 years or so. You know, and I got to know him a little bit. Toward the end of his run, we got to be fast friends.
Did you play that song for him? Did he know the song?
I did play that song for him. He's paid me like the highest compliment, you know, that a musician can pay another, you know, as a mentor. You know, he said, man, that sounds a lot like me. So so thank you, Henry. You know.
That's cool. When you were coming up, you got in with a lot of the older generation.
I did. I kind of got in on the scene just as a lot of those guys were still kicking around. Robert Lockwood and like say Henry Townsend, Homesick James, Bo Diddley. You know.
Do you feel like that's part of your thing, is to keep their music and their legacy going?
Yeah, somewhat. You know, I think I paid that debt. So I've paid my debt, you know, to society. Yeah, that's part of what it was. You know, I mean, like at some point in my early 20s, you know, I put down my electric guitar for a while and started playing this stuff, and then when Unplugged came around, you know, I had, here's my version of Unplugged.
Right.
I'll do it, you know. Now Unplugged is dead, kids, but you know,
we still like it. Huh? Well, that's been a fun thing in your career, because you do the acoustic kind of country blues, whatever you're going to call it, but you also can rock it out, right?
Oh yeah, well that's what I sort of, I guess the main thing. What happens is, you know, I go out and do these road trips with the band and make no money, and then have to
pay those guys.
Come back out and do some solo road trips to pay the bills. You know.
So the show tonight up at Ambrose West is solo.
Yes, it is.
But is the band with you on some of this tour?
No, they're not with me on any of this. No.
Okay, I saw also coming up, in Athens? Is that tomorrow night? You're in.
Tomorrow night, yeah, in Athens.
With Luther Dickinson and some of that
doing
crowd.
A little thing with Luther, yeah. We're both playing solo sets, but we might get along for 5 minutes, you know, to play a couple of songs.
That would not be the first time.
We're notorious for, you know, not getting along, you know. So.
But when did you and Luther first hook up? It seemed like there's a lot of stuff you'd have.
1999, I think it was. My former management, the one thing I got to give them credit for is coming up with idea of getting Jim Dickinson to produce one of my records, you know. So that's probably when I met Luther. I went down to, you know, talk to Jim about some stuff, and Luther and Cody were at that time working on their first record, you know. So he was like, "Hey, why don't you play something on here?" So all right, you know. So that's how we kind of came into acquaintance, you know, more or less.
There's that, because they'll rock out, but they also have that really
Yeah.
deep reverence for the hill country sound and some of that stuff that,
Right,
that
right.
you grew up with. And,
So yeah, and then it became Luther and Jimbo, man. I got the two of them like in a package deal. So
you did the South Memphis string band thing.
yeah, the South Memphis String Band, notorious for not getting along.
That was a killer record.
We've broken up 5 times.
Have you? Well,
We're on hiatus right now. So.
yeah.
We still speak, We still try to be cordial.
We're talking about Alvin Youngblood Hart, who's playing tonight in Asheville, North Carolina, Ambrose West. You know what time that show starts?
Nighttime.
Nighttime.
Yeah.
That's it, tonight. Mike Dew says 8 o'clock. Does that sound right?
They either start in the daytime or nighttime.
Right, that's how you order the world, right?
That's when you know you're really in showbiz. What time does the show start? Nighttime.
All right. What's the next guitar? What's the next
This
song?
on here. This is the Fraulein Angelina 6-string, which was made by a good friend of mine, Todd Cambio, up in Madison, Wisconsin. Made in the USA in the 20. Let's see, this one. Yeah, these two were both made in the 21st century, actually. All right, well, I'll do this song. This is the first Charlie Patton song I learned when I was a little bitty boy about this high, about 17 years old or something like that. And a couple of years ago, I got drafted into a project to play some Charlie Patton music. There's a film called Rumble. Hopefully you all have seen it. I don't know. It was about a Native American contribution to popular music, and they drafted me to play some Charlie Patton music in there. So I might as well play it right now.
All right, it's WNCW Live Music today from Studio B by Alvin Youngblood Hart and Charlie Patton tune there, huh? From the film Rumble. You've been involved with movies a lot over the years in different ways.
I've been in a couple of films.
Yeah. What's cool about that? Well,
it's a interesting experience, and it's like anytime they want to like make some movie about some old timey rural southern thing.
They call you.
Whatever. It seems like I got a call or two. I got an opportunity to be in a Denzel Washington movie. A couple of it's about many years ago was that? About 12 years ago now, I guess. The Great Debaters.
Right. You had a part in that movie, right?
It was a Weinstein project.
Was it?
Yeah, it was. Man. It was a Oprah Weinstein collaboration, man. So
who knew?
I knew nothing. My name is Schultz. I knew nothing, man. But yeah, that was a fun experience. Like I'm sitting in the director's chairs, next to Denzel, man, while he's directing.
Were you giving him advice?
That was his. Yeah, it was actually. No, he was laughing about something though, and giving me the rib, man. But that was quite an experience.
You worked with Samuel Jackson too, right?
I did work with Samuel L. Jackson. I was sort of recruited to give him a little guitar instruction, which he ended up not using in the film. But I did. I was like stunt. I did like some stunt guitar in the film. Like I was not actually in the film. But,
so like we could see your hands in the film.
No, it's not my hands. It's me playing actually. Okay. A little tune in there. So
that's good. And then out of all that, you got Rich and Famous. Is that?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how it happens.
Yeah, cool.
Who knew?
Yeah, who knew? Alvin Youngblood Hart, Ambrose West up in Asheville tonight. Your grandparents, you grew up in L.A., but your grandparents were... No?
Well, no, I actually grew up all over the country. I was born in Oakland, actually.
Okay, Oakland, okay.
My parents had immigrated out to the Bay Area. They didn't know each other. They came out there at separate times. They met each other out there. My dad's friends, said, "Yeah, we know this girl from Mississippi," because they thought everybody they thought his friends were all like born out there or whatever, you know. They thought everybody from Mississippi was like hayseeds and whatnot, you know. So they were like, maybe you two should meet, you know. So I guess it worked out okay, you know. They're still hanging with it. So
yeah, there you go.
yeah, but yeah, and then you know, unfortunate or fortunate circumstances, I ended up moving all over the country. I went to 3 high schools and 3 time zones. You know, my family home is in Mississippi. My mom's home is a place called Carroll County in the middle of nowhere. You
know? That was the account I'd read as you went from California out to Mississippi.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, I was always going there anyway.
Yeah.
No matter, it was kind of no matter where we were. And then when I was an adult, I ended up back there when I was in the service. You know, so yeah, long trails. You know.
Collecting music everywhere you go.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. Alvin Youngblood Hart's playing live today. Another song. All right, that's Alvin Youngblood Hart playing live today. Might sound like 2 guys playing guitar, but it's not. What's that tune called?
Mama don't allow no staying out all night long.
Yeah, there you go. That's from experience, huh?
Something, all right.
Alvin, you have this reputation of being this wizard with electronics and guitars and building guitars and fixing guitars and all that kind of stuff.
Wizard.
Yeah, wizard.
Well, when I was, I've always been sort of, you know, had a mind for tinkering and stuff. And then when I was in the service, I became an electronics technician, fixing radio transmitters. You know, saving. I got medals for saving fishermen in the Pacific that I never saw. I just fixed the radios so they could communicate. You know, so the radio equipment that I worked on was a lot like. Basically like working on a giant guitar amp, you know. So that kind of, you know, just translated over. There's the root of my wizardry.
Yeah. Well, but on your electric records, there's a sound, you know.
I shouldn't have told, man.
Yeah, everyone's gonna be after you now. But yeah, there's a cool sound on those.
I try. I was always, you know, like sometimes. Working on this stuff, you know, 13 hours a day or something, you know. I mean, not writing songs, right? You know, just trying to fix some guitar or some amp, wind a pickup or something, you know. 13 hours a day or something. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, you know.
When you were learning to play, because I know there's like that sort of Jimi Hendrix or whatever, that 70s rock kind of influence, and then there's that like what we just heard with that rhythm just driving with the thumb. Is it 2 really different kind of things where you just learning guitar always and they're always mixed together? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, for me, I more or less I did kind of learn it all at the same time. You know, maybe here or there concentrate on one thing or another. But you know, I also, you know, found it all to be in relationship with each other anyway. You know, like it's like John Lee Hooker and Howlin' Wolf. You know, that's where all the hard rock came from, right there, right there. You know, I remember one Christmas, '73 it was. My brother had got a new guitar for Christmas, a new cheap guitar, cheap plywood guitar, and my great uncle Rubin came over for breakfast that morning, as he usually did, and much to our surprise, he took the guitar and he started messing with the tuners and tunes it to something. Next thing you know, he's playing some. And my brother and myself were just sitting there with our mouth open, like, what just happened in front of our eyes, you know? And so there was that, you know, and that's where, you know, we kind of got that specifically from that source, you know, and then whatever else was going on the radio, you know. And as far as with me, you know, I was, I like to think, you know, I probably got it from Jimmy Page, where he would straddle the acoustic and electric world, fairly proficiently.
Yeah.
I think he did pretty well.
Yeah, we'll give him a pass.
Yeah. So
Cool.
that was a big thing.
Alvin Youngblood Hart playing live today, Studio B, and also tonight Ambrose West in Asheville. Again, mentioned tomorrow night down in Athens in that show with Luther Dickinson.
Yeah.
And then heading on Parts Beyond.
Then I'm heading down to South Alabama to a very cool venue called the Frog Pond. And they do like a daytime, kind of Sunday daytime thing, with 3 or 4 different artists every time, So a little guitar pulling, Here, you take it, thing like that.
Cool. How about one more song to take us out today? You got
All right.
that sounded great. Alvin Youngblood Hart playing live today on WCW in advance of his show tonight at Ambrose West.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Come again anytime. Every Fridays we got your spot open for you.
All right. I'll keep that invitation in mind for sure.
All right. Alvin Youngblood Hart on WCW, where live broadcasts are made possible by Sierra Nevada Brewing Company.